Revealing the truth about Meghan and Harry's children, Meghan Markle will never compete with Catherine. Catherine is the epitome of class and purity. This is the main content of today's newsletter. Folks, there is something that's just not adding up for me here. So I suspect there has been more than enough strange stuff for the public to question whether or not the Sussex children really do exist, and certainly whether or not they should belong in the line of succession. There is plenty of evidence out there suggesting that the children are not real. So one good example is the photo of Meghan Markle with a moon bump that fell all the way to her knees. And then what about the announcement from Kensington Palace about the claims of Harry and Meghan that the services of a surrogate had been used, including an apology for any misunderstanding? Additionally, there are a few family photos, but they're obviously photoshopped, and moreover, there is also the story that during the Jubilee, the Queen spent time inside of Buckingham Palace, playing on the floor with Meghan and Harry's children. I mean, obviously that was a myth. There was no way she could have done that. Truth be told, the Queen was hesitant to even appear on the balcony. She only did that because Charles insisted, and it was only under the condition that her wheelchair was hidden from view. At that time, the late Queen was experiencing some severe mobility issues, and she was probably in a lot of pain. So the idea that she was down there on the floor rolling around with a couple of little kids is ludicrous. So basically, the stories involving Harry and Meghan's children are really not all that convincing. And it looks like the media has unquestioningly accepted all this uncertainty, and whether this is the result of NDAs or perhaps it's because of Parliament holding up the process of determining the children's existence, well, we don't know that information, and so we see the kids are still listed in the line of succession. There's something else that has come to mind too. So during a time when Meghan Markle was considering dipping her toe into politics, she was quoted as saying, as it's been said many times, it takes a village to raise a child. Well, perhaps a village, but obviously Meghan Markle doesn't believe that village should include any extended family. From what I have read, Carol and Michael Middleton are taking so much responsibility for the Wales children. Now, when we talk about taking a village, that's what I think of. Zara and Mike Tyndall are also helping out, and I assume the rest of the members of the families are on both sides. Now, nannies are a wonderful thing if you can afford them, but children still need familiar faces from their families, especially during a crisis. Right now, Princess Anne is also taking on more than her fair share of the royal duties, on top of all the hard work that she usually is involved in. The important thing here is that William and Catherine understand the need for family, something that Harry and Meghan clearly don't understand. Harry and Meghan have alienated themselves from their families on both sides, and old friends too. So exactly where is this village that Meghan is talking about? Who is helping her raise the children? The fact is, children are always mentioned in articles involving Harry and Meghan, but the stories and the photos are never convincing, so we can't help but wonder if they're real. Meghan was very outspoken that her kids are entitled to those titles during the Oprah Winfrey interview. But the media somehow doesn't seem to care very much about investigating these claims. Instead, they're ready to channel their creative energies into providing family counseling to bring about this happy Hollywood ending between the Sussexes and the rest of the royal family, even though it's never going to happen. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe producers in Hollywood are trying to make a Crown Part 2 series or something, one that focuses on Harry and Meghan. What I'm trying to say here is that considering the harassment that William and Catherine and their family had been experiencing over an edited photo and Catherine's absence, the Princess of Wales felt like she had to come out and present herself and explain the whole situation, even though it had already been stated publicly that she wasn't going to be back at work until after Easter because she went through major abdominal surgery. So why can't Harry and Meghan do something similar? Why can't they come out and clear the air and explain the reasons behind these photoshopped photos and explain to us exactly where the children are? It is a complete mystery, and the information is being withheld from the public. Are we not entitled to know? Are we not important enough to find out what's really happening? Why is this so difficult for Harry and Meghan? Now, normally, this kind of hesitance is how suspicions evolve and conspiracy theories grow in attempts to discover what is unknown. So why were Catherine and William pursued relentlessly over this edited photo in the absence of a woman who we know had undergone major surgery? Could it be because it has been recognized by the media and the public that Harry and Meghan are simply not expected to be following the straight and narrow course of action? So essentially, they can do whatever they want to do because they're simply not held to the same standards. So I guess we just shouldn't expect anything from Harry and Meghan, certainly not honesty, right? I mean, even if they had 5 more kids that nobody ever really sees, I guess so what? I guess we're supposed to accept that there's one set of rules for nobility to follow, and then another set for the ex-royals, much more lax set to say the least. But I think in the meantime, William and Catherine need to be given their privacy like they have requested. They are a lovely family, and they are experiencing some very difficult times right now. What they need now is what every family needs during a crisis, and that is our support and prayers. They don't need harassment. Another reason I don't believe there are any children is because the few times the kids allegedly went on trips with Harry and Meghan, all we got to see were these weird blurry photos, very pixelated. There were no nannies, there was no support staff. There is no way, though, that Meghan Markle is going to be the primary caretaker for those kids. And in any photo that Meghan is supposedly holding a child, it's clear that she has never held a child in her whole life. Honestly, I think this is one of the biggest scams, the biggest hoaxes ever. And I'm not sure what they're trying to do here, but they're probably just going to brag about how they pulled the wool over the royal family's eyes and convince them to give titles to kids that aren't even real. But eventually, something is going to happen, and then everything's going to come out. At least that's what I hope happens. The truth always has a way of getting out, and Harry and Meghan are careless. I mean, one can only hold up a pretense for so long. If they really did have kids, you know Meghan would be merching everything they wear, everything they play with, everything they eat. And for somebody who loves to talk about herself and her life, she's never mentioned anything about her pregnancy. She doesn't talk about cravings. She doesn't talk about her body changed. Meghan's always trying to get sympathy. I mean, I'm sure if she had really been pregnant, we would have heard that she had severe nausea, much like the Princess of Wales. Another thing is, Meghan doesn't talk about the kids. I mean, what parent of young children doesn't want to talk about them? It's just bizarre. And why are there still people out there who are willing to accept the lies and the ugly behavior of those two? How could anybody support a couple of people like Harry and Meghan who claim to be humanitarians but haven't done anything to help people? I mean, they have a lot to answer for. Harry, have you spoken with anybody who's with your African Parks charity lately? Are you going to actually help? And what about you and P. Diddy? What's going on with that? So on Quora, there's somebody who said that one of the excuses for Harry and Meghan's children being invisible is because of threats to their well-being. I don't know what they're talking about, though. I found that claim to be bizarre. I'm sure that William and Catherine's family have also been threatened, but you don't see them acting like that. Clearly, Harry is still upset because when he decided to abandon his position as a senior royal, that also meant giving up the protection and security benefits. I mean, he should have understood that. It just sounds like very poor planning to me, and also manipulation by Harry and Meghan. In reality, people find it bizarre that Harry and Meghan have almost encouraged the conspiracy theory surrounding their invisible children. They hide them on purpose. I mean, assuming there are even children to hide. The photos they released are just weird, blurry images, and we see mainly the back of their heads or a single foot, something like that. This is no accident. They did this on purpose. They're wanting to create further confusion, and they're wanting people to ask questions. Unfortunately, this is the world we live in today. And let's talk about how the media has reacted to Catherine. I mean, that was horrible. The way they went after her, claiming all kinds of stuff, was so insulting. The media created a firestorm out of absolutely nothing. So I think it's pretty normal for people to wonder why the media isn't showing the same curiosity when it comes to Harry and Meghan's invisible children. So why are people obsessed with the invisibles? Does it really matter to us whether or not Harry and Meghan really have kids or not? Now, truth be told, how they raise their children shouldn't be our business. And for the same reason, honestly, I don't really care if they have a child. The problem people have, though, is that these children are listed in the line of succession, and so that means we should be able to verify their existence. Now, shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about Catherine. Catherine admitted to editing a photo because of all the nonsense surrounding that photo. I mean, people freaked out. And then after her apology, things got even crazier in the media. The conspiracy theories only got wilder, claims that William was cheating on Catherine and Catherine was missing. If she had not come out and explained the circumstances of her tragic situation, I don't even want to think about what would have happened. So why exactly do we see this double standard? I mean, we see Harry and Meghan getting away with a bunch of nonsense, but what about the Waleses? All it really took to make the rumors stop was Catherine showing up on TV explaining that she's got cancer and she needs some time to go through with her treatment. It was a very simple request. She shouldn't have had to do that, though. She shouldn't have had to apologize for anything. She should not have had to explain herself. And the way Catherine made that announcement was in a very calm, dignified manner. She wasn't sitting across from Oprah crying and whining, and Oprah gasping in shock. No need for Catherine's husband to sit close to her, grabbing her hand either, and no need for a long, drawn-out interview. No need for designer clothes, no need for extensive makeup. To get the message across, Catherine only needed to use her own soft, beautiful voice. She is pure class. She was able to stop further negative media reactions to her absence with a simple message. Now, there is still some clickbait on Google, of course, but overall, most people are accepting what Catherine has said, and most people are acknowledging the value of this remarkable woman. But see, Harry and Meghan, or well, Meghan at least, has always been very anti-Catherine. Do you remember Lady Katie in the media accusing her of being work-shy? I suspect Meghan Markle is probably the one behind the attempts of some members of staff at the London clinic to break into Catherine's medical records. Now, why, who knows? But I'm guessing money is involved. See, they're upset because Catherine isn't showing up in public, so they don't get any photos and there's no money to be made off her. The media has behaved appallingly, though. I mean, just think about how quickly they backtracked. One day they were sneering at her, and the next day they almost apologized. And that was only because so many readers were complaining. I mean, the few letters they published took up 2 entire pages instead of the normal 3/4 to a page. It could be that the squatties are involved as well. I mean, Harry and Meghan's fans will do anything to discredit the royal family, and especially Meghan Markle's arch nemesis, Catherine the Princess of Wales. All right, my friends, that is the main content of today's news. How do you feel about it? Please leave a comment to let us know. Goodbye for now, and I'll be back to see you tomorrow.